definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Why is BLEXIT to you important to the Black community? The crowd is so loud.
Let me hear some noise.
Here's Pierre.
How you guys doing?
All right.
I promise you I'm not as exciting as the video was. So you guys have to bear with me. This is actually one of my first speeches that I've given since taking this role. So I'm definitely a little bit nervous. So I'm going to have you guys kind of interact with me a little bit to help me adjust to being up here. But one of the things I wanted to start with is the journey to coming here, right? So me and John, I think we talked about this, months ago? Yeah, about me coming here. So I knew I was coming, but it wasn't until this morning that I knew what I wanted to talk about. And you guys are probably like, how did you go that long? But I had literally asked God, I'm like, please, tell me what I should speak about. What should I discuss? How can I leave them with something that they can take away, something impactful? And for my Christians out there, my people who believe in God, you guys know he doesn't always come when you want him, but he's always on time. So this morning was his timing. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I still don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I have all these different ideas, but nothing feels right. And then it just hit me. I was watching some videos of my boss, Candace Owens, on YouTube. And I often watch videos of her on YouTube. And it hit me. It wasn't even what she was talking about, but it just came to me and it felt right. And I was like, this is what I want to discuss. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my journey, number one, but also I want to talk to you about the Black community and really what I feel like is, to me, a subconscious, it's almost like we don't understand what is happening in our community. We don't understand the fact that we are in a victim mentality. It's just subconsciously happening to us. So I want to kind of explain to you guys why, because I think a lot of people don't know why, 90% of Black people vote Democrat. And there may be some Democrats in this room. I'm not telling you if you're voting your values that's a problem, but what I am sharing is that a lot of people in the Black community are not voting their values, and I want to share to you guys why. Because a lot of times we don't understand something and we don't understand it, we just write it off. But I think if a lot of people in here understand what's happening on that side, not only will it help you guys know how to attack when people attack you guys, but you'll know how to help. You'll know how to help others. You'll know how to reach out, because a lot of people I hear from a lot of white conservatives or just a lot of white people in general, they'll say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. If I say something, I get attacked for it, or I don't know if it's my place to say something. I don't know how to step in. So I'm hoping that you guys can kind of hear this today and then know what you can do going forward, how you can be an ally, how you can help by understanding a little bit more behind the scenes. But I want to start something. I want to ask you a question. So how many people in here, raise your hand how many people in here have ever had a bad day, just a bad situation, something happened to you? Every hand up, right? I was going to say, if anyone's hand is down, I want your life. Your life. How many people in here feel like they're a victim? Nobody. Okay. That's awesome. I thought maybe I'd get one hand or two, and I'm going to have to figure out why you feel like you're a victim. But great, you guys make my job easy. But isn't that crazy, though, that we've all had we've had bad things happen to us, we've had bad days, but yet we don't see ourselves as a victim, And I thought about that because my journey, I was raised by a single mother. My mom went through 4 marriages, okay? Yes, I see some eyebrows like, 4 marriages. And there's nothing against my mom. Look, I love my mom. We all love our parents, right? But imagine the effect it had on me as a kid to continue to change, my comfort zone over and over and over again. I had step siblings who I grew close to. When divorces happen, you have to move, things change in your life. I mean, all I knew growing up was change, always moving around, changing things. My father, I wasn't extremely close to my father. I would go over his house, every other weekend. And when I would go over there, my father was an engineer by day, but he loved music, so he had a recording studio. So whenever I would go over there, we would spend, my older sister and I would spend the weekend in a recording studio. That was my time with him on Saturday the entire time. And I'm young, and I'm like, this is boring. Like, I want to do something, so I'm like trying to occupy myself in a recording studio, not really bonding with my father. And then on Sunday, it was busy work before I went home with my mom. He would have me out there cutting the grass or doing something, but it wasn't one of those cutting the grass moments where we're working together. It was like, you go over there and you go rake while I do this. It was no connection. So I missed that as a child. And I didn't realize that I grew up still affected by that more than I realized. Because if you would have asked me, you know, who I was, I would have been like, I'm the strongest person in the world, I'm this and that, and I'm no victim, and blah, blah, blah. I would have told you all these great things about why I feel like, you know, I'm not like some of these other people out here who are victims. But then I look back at my life, I looked at some of my decisions, I looked at my choices, and I realized that I was living a victim life whether I wanted to realize it or not. I had two extremes. Because I went through so much change growing up, when I was friends with you, if I was in a relationship or whatever the case may be, either I was like totally in because I let you in and I did not want to let you go, to the point that I would keep toxic people around me because I didn't want to change, because I had changed so much growing up, or I would cut you off too quick. Because if there's one thing that I knew how to do was let people go, because I knew how to let people go from my childhood. So I would just let people go and let them go and let them go. Some good people I can look back and say, I probably shouldn't let that person go. No regrets, you learn. But I definitely know I've done that. And I didn't realize that in my relationships and everything, whenever I would get into a disagreement or something, I would use that also. I would say, well, this is how I grew up, and this is what I feel, and this is just what I was using all of these things that happened to me when I was younger as a way to describe what I was doing as an adult. And it wasn't until my boss, I watched her, and at the time she wasn't my boss, but Candace Owens. Yeah, you guys know Candace Owens, right? Yep. Okay, I'm gonna stick up on that. I was sitting, I still remember this day. I was literally in my bed. I'm a night owl. How many night owls in here? Just up late, you crazy people. I was up late, just on YouTube, you know, How Tall is Jesus, on Google. But anyway, I came across the Candace Owens video, and mind you, I grew up a Democrat. At least I thought I was a Democrat. But I see Candace Owens, I'm watching a little bit of this video, I'm like, who is this crazy woman? Like, what is she talking about? Like, she's spouting all this stuff out, and she got people behind her in MAGA hats, and I'm like, what is going, who are these people? And I'm looking at these black people, and I'm just going to be honest with you, because I can be honest with you guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, these are some, like, coons in here. Like, these are, and that's the mentality I have. That's the mentality I have. And some of my BLEXIT folks who are in here, they know. I'm just being honest with you. And I didn't even know why I was calling them a coon. I really didn't. I was just doing it because that's just what I thought we did when there was a black Republican. We called him a name. Mm-hmm. That's what we do.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there and I'm watching her, and it was the most confusing time in my life, literally, because I'm like, this is ridiculous, but at the same time I couldn't turn it off. I'm like still watching, and then next thing you know, I'm replaying the video, and then I'm like, let me go search some more stuff of hers, because now I'm intrigued. So by this time, it was like 1 a.m. when I did this. It was 7 a.m. when I was done. I didn't go to sleep that night, pretty much. I was up researching, looking up Candace videos, looking up stats, because I'm a political science major, so I love politics. So if I was caught in the trap, imagine how many people who don't know nothing about politics right now that are caught in the trap, you know? But anyway, I started researching all this stuff and all the stats she was throwing out, because I'm not just going to listen to someone. I want to research. I want to know for sure. And a lot of the things she was saying was true. So she put on Twitter a while ago, she described the process of when a person kind of wakes up from, you know, the leftist, you know, ideology or the victim mentality they put on us when they wake up, how it feels. And it was exactly how I felt to the T. The first thing I felt was confusion. I was like, I'm really confused. I don't know why I kind of agree with these things. This is so against everything I've been taught. Then I wanted to learn more. So then that's when I started researching. Then I got angry because I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this can't be right. Like, I'm feeling all weird inside. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Maybe I need to go to sleep. You know, it is late. And I'm just feeling all kinds of emotions, but then after that, I got scared. And I don't really get scared often, but I got extremely scared because I started thinking about my mom, my dad, my sister, my brothers, like my friends. What will they think of me if I start to share? Like, I kind of agree with President Trump, you know, I kind of agree with some of these conservative principles. What will they feel? And that scary feeling is why I'm here right now. It's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I can't imagine the people who are going through this right now, who don't even have the knowledge that I have, you know, or who don't even have the guts that I have to be able to stand up and do this. Some people are literally living in fear in their own families right now because they don't want to step out of line. So instead of learning more about the truth, they just choose to stay out of it. People say all the time, I don't care about politics. Sometimes that doesn't mean they don't care. Sometimes it means they have a fear of getting too involved with politics.
Yeah.
You guys have to read between the lines with that too. Some people genuinely just don't care, which is sad. But some people are saying, I don't want to get involved because I don't want the backlash. So I started praying, as I often do when situations like that happen. I just started praying. And not only was God, you know, showing me that this was right, and it felt right. This was the most right anything I ever felt in my life. And that's saying something. This felt like I finally knew who I was. I knew what my values were. I knew what my core was. But God was also telling me to speak up. And I'm like, wait a minute, Lord, no, we just, no. I'm not speaking up. I'm not going out and helping people. I don't even know what I want to do right now. I'm scared. You're telling me to go out and do all this stuff. No, I'm not doing that. But again, for my Christ followers out there, you guys know when God wants something, he is going to get it. So he continued to just push that in my mind every day, waking up like, be active, spread the message, spread the word. And I'm like, fine, you know. So I started on social media, on Facebook. And when I tell y'all, the backlash, I mean, it was bad. I posted my first status in support of like conservative values. It wasn't even that bad. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something that wasn't, at least I thought it wasn't super controversial. I had like 200 and something comments and people just arguing and yelling. I felt like I was like trying to fight 10,000 battles on my Facebook page at one time, and people were just like, what is wrong with you? And then my family is like, call me. And everybody's just like freaking out. It was at one point where my mom asked me, and it's hurt, you know, she asked me, was I okay? Because she was like, are you going through something really deep right now? I'm worried about you. And that hurt a little bit, because I'm like, wait a minute, like, you raised me to be independent. You raised me to think for myself. You raised me to chase my own dreams, to think for myself. And here I am doing it, but because it's not how you think I should think, you're coming back against me and you think something's wrong with me. And it hurt. And to this moment, my mom and I still have a weird relationship right now, which is sad, but just pray for us. But my mom is one of those moms that's like really strong and set in her ways, and she's not the easiest. And then my father, I knew he would be a little bit easier to talk to. And he was. We still didn't agree, but he was a little easier to talk to. And my father's from Trinidad, so he calls me, I don't even know why he does this accent so weird. He's like, Pierre. I'm like, my name is Pierre, but Pierre. And then when he goes to order a Sprite, he's like, Sprite. I'm like, there's no K in the Sprite. But anyway, my father's like, Pierre, I don't know about that. I think the Republicans are racist. Pierre, I think they're racist. I'm like, why are they racist? And he's like, well, you know, I don't think they care about black people. I'm like, you said that. Why though? What's the reason? He couldn't share why. And then he's just like, well, I'm just going to have to look into it, you know? And I guess he's still looking into it. But at the end of the day, though, he's been more supportive around it, but he still doesn't fully agree. But I think my father, from what I learned from my sister, is he's watching a lot more of what I'm doing on social media, and I think he is starting to expand his knowledge about the conservative values. But I share that because for me it's important, and I don't know who in here is struggling with something similar, but it's important for you to stand your ground regardless of what your friends, your family, whoever else believes, because I knew this is what I was supposed to do regardless of what backlash I was going to get. I still feel as right in my purpose as I've ever felt. Even with, I've lost so many friends. Again, I've family members who don't talk to me anymore. And if you ask me would I change any of it, absolutely not. Because the people who I touch, the people who say, you know what, I'm going to put my MAGA hat on. I'm going to post on social media. I'm going to say this. Those people I know they're why I'm doing it. It makes it worth it, because we cannot be silenced. We can't be silenced. If you let yourself be silenced, you're letting the left win. Whether you may think you're like not a big player in the game, you're like, oh, whether I stand up or not, it's fine. There's people that do that. No, because you guys know the left will stand up. They will say whatever they want online. They will wear whatever they want. They will do whatever they want. Every time you walk away and say, you know what, I'm not putting that MAGA hat on today. I'm not going to post this because someone's going to say something. You are letting them win, whether you realize it or not. Because the more we stand together, the more of us that are doing it, the harder it is to stop us. Right now, the problem is that it's way more of them that are bold enough to do it and not enough of us who are bold enough to do it. And that has to change. So, I love my mom. The Bible says honor your parents. I love my parents. I'm going to always respect them and honor them, but at the same time, I'm also grown, and I also have my own mind, and I know how to research, and I also know when there's a victim mentality that we need to get out of. And sometimes you have to break generational curses. I'm going to say it again. Sometimes you have to break generational curses. And if I have to be the one to break this one, I will. Because when I look at my mom, I look at a conservative who votes Democrat. It's the strangest thing. My mom would never agree with killing your baby. My mom has a gun. I would like to see someone try to take her gun. She would go all black woman crazy on you. She's not playing that. My mom has her face is the reason why, well, God of course, but God using her as a vessel is the reason why my faith is so strong. And I look at so many things of my mom and I'm just like, what are you voting for? I mean, now the left is like pushing socialism, which is like extreme at this point. Yeah. And my mom is the furthest thing from a socialist. Mm-hmm. She didn't raise me with any socialist values. You know, none at all. If you didn't do your job around the house, you didn't get your allowance. You didn't get to go somewhere. It wasn't no, oh well, you cleaned up, I'm gonna go ahead and give you your allowance and I'm gonna give your sister half of it and I'm gonna do. No, my mom was like, you didn't do the job, you're not getting a reward from it. No socialist teachings in my household. So the reason I'm sharing this and how I'm trying to bring this together is that the left has infiltrated the culture in the black community. Yep. And I don't know if you guys understand that, but they have infiltrated the culture in the black community. They use rappers, singers, billboards in our area, in urban areas. Anything they can do to help to make sure that we get accustomed to a certain way, even if it doesn't make any sense. And that's what's happening right now in the black community. So, like myself, I didn't realize what I was doing. I just thought what I was doing was normal. And you guys may have friends like that. And it's not just black people. I come across white liberals who are the same way, who can't tell me at all why they're voting Democrat. And it's not reserved to just the right. Listen, one thing about BLEXIT, and everyone here can tell you, we encourage people to vote their values. If you really are a liberal and your values are liberal, we're not going to beat you over the head with a gun and tell you to vote for conservatives because you need to believe in the Second Amendment. I mean, we might look at you a little crazy, but we'll let you be what you want to be. If that's what your values are and you know why you're going to vote that way, then that's fine. But what we find, especially in the black community, is that a lot of people are not at all liberal, but they're voting that way, and that is a concern. For 90% of black people to be voting one way is insane. And to be voting that way is such against their values is insane. So I want you guys to understand this is something that's deep-rooted from the moment they're born. This is a family thing. This is something, breaking up the families like my father. I told you the situation with my dad. Not having a father in the home hurts. It hurts. Because you don't have that foundation, that strength It's not against women. It's nothing against women. Moms are incredible. My mom was incredible, but I still needed my father. You know? There's still things that I suffer from today, but it's just that the difference is now I recognize it and I choose not to let it define me. I choose to find a way to grow from it. I don't let it define me. But yes, there are things that I have to overcome, even to this point, because I didn't have my father in the home consistently. And that's what's happening in the Black community. So I just want to make sure you guys know, when it's something that you might feel like, I've had a conversation with him, it's just no hope. Don't give up, because this is deep rooted. And sometimes you have to come from a different angle. You know, take time to understand that person first. Because the process of switching or changing over or waking up, that part's fast. But getting there is what takes time. Once you get the realization, you're done. You're like, I can't vote for a Democrat right at this point, especially this group. But getting there is not always easy. And it can happen at random times. So for you guys, you have to remember to share, not only share your knowledge, but to listen so you understand why this person is made up the way that they are. I promise you, the Black community is just not out here like walking blindly and just doing it because they just want to rebel against the right. They may sound like that, they may come off that way, but honestly, it's a lot deeper rooted because, again, I did not know that I was a victim. Somebody else could see it, I didn't see it. I looked at all the reasons why I thought I was strong. So, and again, it's not just the Black community. I want you guys to remember that. It's just that community is targeted because if they lose, I think, at least it's like 10% of the Black vote, the Democratic Party, they start losing elections all over the country.
That's right.
They can't afford to lose any of the Black vote. So naturally, they're going to target that group the hardest. But I think what you guys are seeing under the Trump administration is a change. Now, I'm a little hesitant at that poll. 50% of Black people are, support. I'm a little hesitant at that. I don't know about 50% supporting Trump yet. We might want to not get too excited about that one. But I do believe there's a shift in the Black community that I haven't seen in my lifetime. And we have a president now who is standing up for the Black community. He may tweet some stuff sometimes and make you shake your head, make you scratch your head and not understand why he just go to sleep. President Trump, just go and take a nap. But my mom also told me actions speak louder than words, right?
Right.
And I watch him. I watch a lot of what he does. I read bills. I look at his policies. Like I'm not on Fox, CNN, and MSNBC only, and just looking at. I'm actually looking at what is in this bill. What is he advocating for? I want to know, and I use that as my guide to judge him. And I'm proud to say I'm a huge supporter of President Trump. Anybody else supporters? I get some claps and applause from that. President Trump has done so much for the Black community, and that's something that you can share with Black friends and whoever when you're educating them, let them know, like, the First Step Act is huge. Osiga, he's part of BLEXIT, North Carolina. He had a big part in that. He helped advocate for the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, to see this being done is huge because we had president after president who stayed away from it because it was considered political suicide to touch criminal justice reform. But Big Trump, as Bryson calls him, Big Trump, he'll be here next week, MAGA hat challenge. Big Trump wasn't scared, and he did it. And then not only that, the Second Step Act, which is helping them reintegrate into society. He's also passed something called the Urban Revitalization Council, putting $100 billion into Black communities. Opportunity zones. There's 200 and something opportunity zones in North Carolina alone, allowing Black people to start businesses in some of the roughest areas where these buildings are abandoned right now. I mean, he's given the most money to HBCUs of any president in history. He's a horrible racist. If he's a racist, he is doing a terrible job. Like, if that's racist, then someone lied to me my entire life, because maybe racist is the way to go. I don't know, because he is redefining that word. So, and these are the things that we have to think about when we're talking, it's not about like what's wrong with you. I think we conservatives, we get too quick because we like to think that we're the logical ones. We're the ones that are based around fact. And when people just start spitting out nonsense or opinions, we just like, oh, I can't deal with this. I gotta walk away. I'm done. Because that's how some conservatives get like that. Like we want to talk facts. If it's not facts, we start getting annoyed. We can't get like that. And that's what BLEXIT is also doing too. And again, I want to reiterate, BLEXIT is not about switching votes. Again, it's about helping you understand your values and voting that way. But the thing about BLEXIT, though, that I think is so different is that we're not just focused on telling you about facts. We're focused on your heart. We're focused on the core of who you are. We're focused on the culture. Because winning a policy argument does not matter if you can't get to their emotions. When someone's emotional, you guys, I'm sure everyone in this room has gotten to an argument. Spouses, friends, whoever. You could be throwing out all these facts and it don't matter, because if they are mad at you in that moment or they don't want to hear what you got to say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The sky's blue, it's red. The sky ain't blue, it's red. They just will disagree with you just to disagree with you at that point. So BLEXIT understands that, and what Candace understands so well, and she does a fantastic job of it, is that we have to infiltrate the culture. We have to be able to understand who these people are at their core. If we want to start talking policy and all this other stuff with them, we have to get them to identify who they are first. And that's the lesson I want you guys to understand too. It is not about throwing out all the things I just said. Yes, you can share those things about President Trump, absolutely. But understand who they are first. I'm not just going to walk up to you and say, the first step back and why are you voting this way? No, I'm going to understand who you are first. Because what if you do like that about President Trump, but you aren't voting for him because you think he's a racist, or you think the Republican Party is racist, and I just spent 5 minutes arguing with, trying to spill out first step act stuff, and that's not even what bothers you. You have to understand who they are, what triggers them, what gets them. That's how you're going to win these debates. It's not about who's the loudest, who can get the most out. It's about who listens the best. That's what it's about. And I'm going to wrap up shortly because I don't want to stand up here, because everybody who's part of BLEXIT, they know I can talk for days. But I want to share something else with you guys too. I have this journey that I'm on, it's incredible, but I know a lot of people in this room, whether you're in politics full-time, whether it's a hobby for you, whether it's something that you want to be in full-time, I want to share something with you that I do all the time. Even though I work for Candace, right? And I remember at the BLEXIT Charlotte rally, I was sitting next to her in the room, and actually I was just sitting there, and she came and plopped herself next to me, and I'm just like, this is just still weird to me, you know? Like, she's just plopping herself next to me and getting comfortable, kicking her feet up, talking to me like we've been friends for years. Like, this is still weird. This is the person that I've looked up to and watched on YouTube for so long. But she just started talking about like random stuff, and we were talking about like food and all this other. It was just random stuff. Candace is a fatty, by the way. She can eat. Don't let her fool you. She come out like she eat number salad. She is a fatty. We were back there eating together, but she's a very humble person. I love that, because I don't know if some of you guys have ever met your idols and then you got disappointed afterwards. That has happened to me before, and I'm like, oh, now I look at you different. She's very humble. She's everything that you would hope that she would be. But I told myself when I walked out that room, I said, I don't want to ever lose this feeling of being a fan of hers. And the reason why is because she inspires me. She pushes me. So as you guys get jobs with your idols or work alongside your idols or whatever, make sure you still keep that humble spirit and remember that everything that you loved about that person or the people that you're around, make sure you never lose it, because that's what's going to keep you pushing. That's what's going to keep you going. Don't ever get too comfortable in a situation. Always look for room to grow. It doesn't matter where I'm at. If I can learn something from somebody that, from Joe Blow, who's not even in politics, I'm going to learn something from Joe. Like, it doesn't matter. Always look for opportunities to learn. But don't ever lose that little kid inside of you that gets excited and gets inspired, because I think that's a problem that I already see in politics. Getting so happy, I see that. A lot of egos, a lot of people who have lost that, probably that luster that got them involved, you know? I see that being lost, and I think that's where corruption starts to come in politics and all that other stuff. People lose that. So don't lose that. Remember why you're doing it. I told myself, I think I had this conversation with UD a while ago. I said, if I ever wake up one day, and I mean this, because my first job is to serve God, more than politics or anything else. If I ever wake up one day and my heart is in it for the wrong reason, I am going to get out of it. I need to find something else to do. But as long as I wake up every day and I know that I'm in this because I want better for my community, I want better for America, I will continue this fight. I'd never want to be the corrupt and there's corrupt people on both sides. Okay? Let's be clear. I know we love our conservatives in here too, but you know, there's some on that side too. And I never want to be that. So I challenge you guys to never lose that spirit you have inside of you right now. That fire to want to be better, to make a change. Don't lose that. And more importantly, put on those Trump hats, okay? Make America great again. Or keep America great again. Put on your socialism sucks shirts, okay? Put on all of that stuff, and do not be afraid to walk around campus. Don't be afraid to walk around and be proud of what you believe in. Because we need you. We need you. Would y'all agree? Can my BLEXIT folks, y'all can get some? We need you. And do not think because I'm talking to my white friends in here. Don't think because you're white, you can't be part of this BLEXIT fight. We need you for that too. We need you. And what I hope I equipped you with today was a little bit of backstory and knowledge of what's happening. And you are better prepared to help people. But do not look away because you feel like this isn't your fight. If this is America and conservatives, we love this country, right? Mm-hmm. Can we get an applause for that? We love this country, right? You love this country, then you need to make sure that every group, legally, that's here, is fought for. So we need you guys. All right, thank you. Yes, I want to play a video. You guys might have seen this video before, but this video is the video I was referring to that really inspired me. I think this is a little bit of a short clip of it, but I would love for you guys to see it. And then I'll take a couple questions.
Black lives have never, ever, ever mattered to the Democrat Party. Black votes always have. They have created systems that we cannot get out of. The welfare system was meant to do what it has done to our families. It has decimated our community. The single motherhood rate in the 1960s was at 23%. Today, the single motherhood rate is 74% in the Black community. They incentivized that. They removed the Black father from the home because they knew that once you break down the family, you can control the youth that are growing up. They gave us hip-hop. They gave us the media. They didn't give us the facts. They lied to us in school. They told us that the Republican and the Democrat Party switched. That never happened, okay? One person switched parties. Nobody else did. They create this narrative every 4 years that the Republicans are racist. They try to scare us. Are we such punks that we are so scared to try something different because every 4 years they knock for our votes and they say, vote for us because the other guy is racist. Vote for us because the other person is racist. It is time for us to stand up for our community boldly, to look the Democrat Party in the eye and to tell them that you are going to fight for our votes. Listen to this, and this is something that you all need to know. If the Democrats do not get more than 85% of the black votes, their party is finished. Okay? They rely upon us. We have never relied upon them. They have always relied upon us. This is the time for us to stand up in our communities and to fix them, to stand next to one another. Words like Uncle Tom, house Negroes, house slaves, those were created by leftists to make sure that we are constantly at war with one another. It is time for us to stand up against that and to stand together. This is our time. Make America Great Again is for us too. We are Americans first and foremost. We have been in this country since 1619, before any other immigrant group. When he says he's going to make America great, I don't get scared because I'm about as American as it gets.
How amazing was that speech, right? And now imagine listening to it at 1 a.m. in the morning. I want to actually bring up the BLEXIT team. I want to bring up BLEXIT North Carolina members first. You guys can come on up here. I want them to say a couple things to you guys about the state chapter. Stevie, come on, don't hide y'all. Lisa recording. Lisa, you good?
Yeah.
William, come on, William.
I'm just a driver.
Come on, Miriam. I want the North Carolina chapter to say a couple quick things really quick. So Danielle is our state director for BLEXIT North Carolina, so I just want her to share some things that the chapter has been doing.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for being here today. It means a lot that we've got your support. Like I said, BLEXIT is what we do to reach our people, but we are all in stake for our people. So you guys being here and being a part of that is key. North Carolina, we're excited. This is my assistant director. This is my fundraising director. Ariel's just been promoted to the national team, but she's part of BLEXIT in North Carolina. First, you guys, and William, what's up? But join us on our Facebook page. We've got a lot of things going on. So this Fight to Freedom tour, we kicked it off here at Appalachian State, but we'll be going to other universities and some HBCUs. We've got a lot of things coming down the pipe and conferences and just other kind of activities that if you are a conservative, you want to get behind. And it's time for us to be proud black conservatives, proud white conservatives, proud conservatives, period. So I'm excited for all of us here, and you guys check us out online.
So I'm gonna say something real quick, y'all. Since we're on a college campus, I figure you need to learn something, right? So, how many of us in the room have heard this idea that America was founded on racism? How many of us have heard that from the left? This country was built on the tearing down of black people and the oppression of brown people. How many people in this room know what the Kaiser suit is? Nobody? All right. You're going to demolish that argument in 10 seconds when you ask that person that says that to you, do you know what the Kaiser suit is? C-A-S-O-R. The Kaiser suit is the first example of slavery being legally upheld in the United States, in the colony of Virginia. The interesting fact is, it was a white judge who found that a black man could legally own 3 white people and 1 black man. So now they've got to tell you that this white racist judge was so racist that he legally verified a black man's right to own white people. That demolishes the very idea that this country was founded on some idea of racism. So the next time you hear that, just say, hey, do you know what the Kaiser suit is? You might want to look that up, because that premise doesn't stand in this country. And that's what BLEXIT is really about, is about getting people information they haven't had to before. Because this fight, believe me, it's not a black and white fight. This is a right and wrong, God versus the devil fight. And we got to be in it together. So thank you, y'all.
Hey everybody, I'm Osiga, State Fundraising Director. So I gotta talk about, the funds. If you'd like to help out with our efforts, we'll really appreciate it. We just started a PayPal fundraiser to get going. So if you would like that link or more information, definitely see me or Pierre afterwards. And appreciate you guys for coming out.
Wow. Well, I'm just a driver. But actually, I had a nice car. I wanted to sow some seeds into Pierre's life, but just to piggyback on what Brother always said about racism, I come from a pretty wealthy black family in South Carolina, and as a matter of fact, back in the 20s and 30s, my uncle had a puckwood company, and he had several whites working for him. And I was told during the Depression that our families lent money to the Bank of South Carolina to keep it going, the state of South Carolina. And so, and I went to I guess you call it a focus group last week, and the question was asked, there were 10 black men there, do you think Donald Trump is racist? And 10 out of 10 said no.
Our Ariel wishes not to say hello.
Hi, everybody. My name's Ariel.
Thank you guys so much.
I want to say something. Tennessee, our BLEXIT Tennessee chapter has showed up from Tennessee. Come up here, y'all. I gotta say something. Just say something. I'm putting everybody on the spot. Look, BLEXIT. No, but this is great for them to show up and be here and support the North Carolina team and support me. It means so much to us. So I'm gonna let them take over really quick to say a few words. What BLEXIT means to you.
Alright, did put me on the spot. I'm all sweaty because we just ran up here because we don't want to be too late. But yeah, we just started our new chapter here in Tennessee, and we're super excited. I myself actually just moved to Tennessee from New Mexico. I'm a veteran. My husband's a veteran. We're officially out, and I still want to be of service in as any way I possibly can. And especially today, there's a lot of division, and I know we keep hearing that and everything. But the division does come from the left, especially the left, like they're feeding into this. But I don't think that the conservative movement and the right is as innocent either. There's a bickering on both sides, there's pointing the finger on both sides. And one thing that we do want to bring is genuine unity. So regardless of skin color, regardless of where you came from, we all really do want to see ourselves united. And opening up discussions, tough discussions, within the Black community is something that we're going to be doing a lot, going into hopefully spreading some accountability in the African American community, because I know it's probably, I'm gonna be real, I'm seeing a lot of white faces, so I'm going to be speaking mainly to you guys. I know, especially since 2016, there's been a lot of finger pointing. It's the evil white person. All of a sudden, for some reason, Donald Trump was the person that they're using as the poster child for this, even though we were embracive of him. And all of a sudden, like I was telling him, I wonder what happened, what they think the liberals and the left think happened to Donald Trump when he went down the escalators. It was like a full moon night, his eyes started twitching, and then he just morphed into this racist person. It doesn't, but to get, in the Black communities and everything in urban engagement, and to really show the African American community that this president is doing great things for us. And hopefully when we get to that point of, really being accountable and growing from ourselves and stop being so government dependent and being self-sufficient, I think that will also open the African American community's eyes into putting that finger back and being like, okay, we're not so perfect either, you guys aren't perfect either. None of the generations before us did everything correctly. That's why we're in this time right now. But once we get to a certain point, especially of responsibility, I think we could have even deeper discussions beyond that. So that's what our intention is.
Well, she kind of said everything. I just want to say hey to everybody. So listen, we're in this all together. That's just what it mainly is. We in this together, no matter what. We always made from God, and God made us from dirt. That's it. We in this together, and we are better together. And the more we separate from each other, the more hate and division we get. I love everybody. I don't care who he is and where he came from, nothing. But hey, we thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
Did you guys have any questions for me or any of the BLEXIT people? Yeah. Anybody? Yeah.
It's warm in here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like you said, with a lot of black people are traditionally conservative. Like, my family is very conservative, God first. They don't want to keep their guns because gang issues in my community is a real threat. And those are illegal guns. They want to. For the gang issues. And so, like, how do you talk to a person and introduce the, not argument, but conversation that a lot of their issues, because they know a lot of the issues in the black community, they know single fatherhood, the illiteracy rate, and all this stuff is bad, but they want to blame it on the right and the Republicans. But if you look back at history and Lyndon B. Johnson, a lot of those issues were created from him and his policies and rewarding not bad behavior, but it turned into this generational pattern that we just can't break out of. How do we introduce that conversation?
That's a really great question, right? Can we clap for that question? Lisa, I'm gonna put you on the spot, Lisa.
Dun dun dun.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Let me share something. Somebody grab that phone from Lisa.
Come on.
I want to share something really quick. Come on up, Lisa. Lisa is my advisor. She's my spiritual friend, mama, everything, sister. She's all of that. I don't know where I would be without Lisa. Seriously, I'm going to answer your question, trust me. But she's worth this introduction. She literally took me from a point where when I wasn't talking to my mom and all that kind of stuff, Lisa was there for me. And she didn't even realize how she was helping me during that time. She put me on the board of MECBRC, her organization's club. She gave me some purpose. She gave me a family again. So I owe so much to Lisa. So can we just clap for Lisa really quick? But the reason I brought her up here is because if I know one person who don't play about the 2A and those things, it's Lisa. So I'm gonna let you take this question.
Okay, so specifically, you want me to talk about the Second Amendment or just
All in general, like how they're trying to take away or change our values, and how do I try to convince them that if those are your values, why not be more right-leaning instead of blindly following the Democrat Party?
I think that for me, the important thing would be to actually, you have to ask questions and let them answer so they can hear what they're saying. So then they can hear their own values, and then they can determine where they line up. When it comes to the Second Amendment, in my opinion, we do have some violent communities that we live in. And I'm going to tell you, I have 2 brothers and an uncle and a cousin all murdered on the streets of Camden, New Jersey, okay? New Jersey has one of the strictest gun laws in the United States. Me living in North Carolina, I came here as a single parent. So as a single female living alone, you can be a target. So these are the kind of things that you might want to talk about in your community and to your family members. Is like, hey, don't I have the right to protect myself? And if I'm legally allowed to own a firearm to protect myself and my family, what's wrong with that? And if they know that they live in a violent community, you have an ability to protect yourself shouldn't be an issue. It should be something that's embraced. So, and we're not talking about having firearms and being irresponsible. We want to also promote responsibility. I mean, I personally am a member of a women's shooting club. I shoot once a month. I train. I mean, I don't take it lightly. This is a responsibility that I was provided and given by the state of North Carolina, and I promote that. And I think that it's the great equalizer for young women. And I have a 23-year-old daughter who lives with 2 other girls in an apartment, and they are on their phones, they're walking around at night, and I call her all the time, but they're afraid of firearms. And her mother and I shoot all the time. But the society has told them that if you have a gun, you're dangerous. No, the other person is dangerous. You are just protecting yourself. It's just like wearing a seatbelt. You have it, you may not need it, but you're going to use it. And then when it comes to other things in the community, you can discuss, should someone, if you work every day, like Pierre was saying earlier, should someone get your paycheck? So why are people paying, why do they want us to pay for someone else's college education? You're paying for yours, I'm paying for mine, but should the 2 of us pay for someone else's education? You don't. You're choosing to get these loans. So if we look at hard work, responsibility, all these things are ingrained in the black community. We used to believe that what the Bible said, if you don't work, you don't eat, right? Amen. We used to believe that. But today, we believe I should have what someone else has. But I'm here to tell you, I grew up with a single parent. My mother had me when she was 18 years old. and she didn't have an education. She had a GED. We lived in poverty, okay? My sister right now is an attorney with 3 college degrees.
Come on
we grew
now.
up without a parent, without a father.
Come on
we
now.
can come from that, from Camden, New Jersey. I don't want to hear any 18-year-old in 2019 telling me they're oppressed. They don't know what it's like not to have something. You guys are some of the most privileged people in the world.
Right.
So if we can recognize that, and just in my view, it's common sense, but to break it down, take it to its logical conclusion, we have to use critical thinking, and we're learning that in college, right? So use those skills in a way, as Pierre said, in a compassionate. No, that's his thing. I don't know if I have that. But kind of more straightforward, like, hey, that's wrong. Think about it this way. But really just drill down on what I wanted to do is knock on each person's door and say, what do you need? And I bet it can be met in a conservative value. So what is their issue, and how can you help them help themselves?
All right.
I hope that answered your question.
Come on now, Lisa.
Great question, great answer. Any other questions?
Come on now, Lisa.
Yeah, I was just thinking of this statistic that maybe you could speak to. There was I'm anti-abortion. I would be glad. I'll praise the Lord today that Planned Parenthood's doors are shut. But I noticed this statistic one time that to demonstrate how the Democratic Party doesn't care about the black community, that on Manhattan Island alone, there are more black babies killed than born because of Planned Parenthood. Why don't people know, not just the black community, but anybody, why don't more people know that?
That's a good question. So I think, it's culture, what we were talking about earlier, is a big reason why, right? When you have celebrities and these people who people look up to, like, think about it for a second. And I'm not saying they're not, white idols or people that, people put on the platform in the white community. But in the black community, it's so prevalent. Like, we go to LeBron James for political advice. Like, we go to celebrities for things that they have no expertise in. And when these celebrities are pushed back by Hollywood, who we all know is liberal, and I like the way LeBron James plays, but I don't care about his political opinion. That's where the problem is coming in, because we don't have enough advocates, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. And then we have white conservatives who, and I get it, you guys are in a rough spot. You're like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know how to help with this right now. So so a lot of times you guys sit on the sidelines, like you'll think it, you'll be over there like, I know this needs to change, but you don't know what to do or how to get in that fight. So movements like BLEXIT is new. BLEXIT just started in 2018. A lot of people don't know that. The whole organization just started in 2018. So I think we're getting there. I think we're finding ways to infiltrate the culture and get it back. But that's the way we're going to do it. We have to be able to spread it through the culture. And Kanye West coming out was huge. Listen, personally, and don't kick me out, I hope you guys still love me after this, but I wasn't the biggest Kanye fan myself before, but him coming out and doing what he did earned a lot of respect from me. A lot of respect. Because to be at that level and to do that is dangerous. It's past like some mean comments. It's dangerous now. So I respect him for doing that. But that's how we're going to get it back. We have to infiltrate the community. Did anybody else want to add to that? I mean, the culture. So, yeah.
So I'm loud. So I'm actually not going to use this. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really loud. I don't like mics. So abortion is such a problem in the black community, I think, because of the breakdown of the family, first and foremost, that back in the 60s, it was the black family was a mother, a father, and children, and it was strong. There was grandparents. You probably have heard of like black cookouts and things like that. That's like the block parties. That's real. That was what black culture used to be. Mm-hmm. And the breakdown of the black family is one of the biggest reasons why there is so much abortion now. Mothers, single mothers, they're pressured into hypersexualization. And so they're getting pregnant earlier and earlier and earlier, and then they're being pressured by society to then say, hey, you're not ready to take care of a kid. Who's going to take care of that kid? Do you want them on food stamps? Do you want them on welfare? Do you want them on Medicaid? And none of those things are what we want as black people. Nobody, white people don't want that either. But that is what is the norm now. And unless you want your children to go through that, then the other option is, well, you could just end their misery and their suffering, or don't even think about it. You're going in that Planned Parenthood, spending $300-400, and it's, you know, you're done. And that's the problem, I think, first and foremost. Break down the black family, hypersexualization of the black woman, and then the push to be on welfare, when really black people, that, like we were talking about earlier, it's not our values to be on welfare or anything like that. So I think that's an out. So that's just one of the things.
Yeah, as far as what you said with that, they'll go to these abortion clinics. And have you heard about the case down in Texas where a African-American mother is fighting for her little daughter's life, and the courts want, or the hospitals want to take off life support for her?
No, I haven't heard about that. But I mean, we're losing the sanctity of life. Obviously, it started, you know, back with Roe versus Wade. The sanctity of life is being lost. We don't care about children in the womb, and now we're not starting to care about them when they're in the NICU. We don't care about them in foster care. We don't care about them in adoption. We don't care about them as they're in schools, whenever they're learning all this indoctrination and they're being absolutely bombarded by sinful culture, and then we don't care about them when they're adults.
We're becoming so desensitized to the value of life. And it's become a generational thing. 20, 30 years ago, it would have been seen as, no, it's crazy. It was, but now in our generation, we just brush it off. We don't give it a second thought, and it's bad that we do.
Can I throw one thing into this? So, how many people in here have read Black Rednecks and White Liberals by Thomas Sowell? Read Black Rednecks and White Liberals by Thomas Sowell. And what you're going to find out is what we are calling black culture, what they convinced you of is black culture, is really poor, what they call cracker culture. It originates in the western counties, the poor counties of England. When you look at these counties in England, you see the same pathologies: high single mother rate, low poverty, low education, and these people have never been enslaved. Has nothing to do with slavery, has everything to do with culture. If you really want to, now, after McCarthyism, right, after the big communist scare, the left went into the social sciences, they went into psychology, they went into psychiatry, they went into education. Meanwhile, conservatives were out building factories and farms. So if we really want to fight this, we need conservative teachers on college campuses. You need conservative pastors out preaching the word on Sundays. You need people willing to fight and say, hold on. Now, last thing, right around 1980, white folks bumped their head. What I mean by that is you started telling Raheem speaking in Ebonics was okay. You started telling people that you don't have to read well. Oh, Raheem is just a ghetto child and that's the way they talk. No. We have to, right now, y'all see this case in Texas with the little boy and his dreadlocks? Guess what my school would have told me? Cut your hair or you ain't walking. That's it. That's the bottom line. So we've given up our standards. If you do not read Black Rednecks and White Liberals, you will be missing a huge chunk of the picture as to why we got where we are. But it starts with, once you get your college degrees, those of you that are going to go into education, you can't let the left win. There's another book you have to get called Intellectuals and Race by Thomas Sowell. That's going to set you up to understand how they infiltrated our education system. See, we don't have education anymore. We have indoctrination. Right? When I go to turn on the TV, and no disrespect to anybody that's gay, what you do in your house is what you do. But why are we sexualizing babies with LGBT folks on Sesame Street? Why? Help me understand that. So I think that reading those two books, Black Rednecks and White Liberals and Intellectuals and Race by Thomas Sowell, will give you a little bit of the groundwork, especially an insight from our white friends into black culture. But for black people, when you start speaking proper English and you start, oh, you ain't acting black, you acting white. Well, technically, if you really knew what you call in black culture, you the one acting white. So, but the sanctity of life issue came when anybody that knows about Marxism understands they had to remove God first. Art. So I'll digress there, but read those two books, Intellectuals and Race and Black Rednecks and White Liberals, and that will equip you as black people to know about our culture and as white folks to understand the dynamics of how we got here. My bad.
far as teachers go, for conservative philosophy, Roger Scruton is your man. He's a British conservative. He actually died recently, but he wrote a book called Conservatism: An Invitation to the Great Tradition, how to be a conservative. I actually have one of his books right now in my book bag that I started reading. But some of those books, Roger Scruton, he is gold for that. Just a fly.
Back to your original question. I have heard that statistic and I've actually used it to talk to people. A lot of the response that I get is, well, it's a really sick and twisted, I guess, argument that it's abortion and the high numbers of abortion in the Black community is just a caring way to take care of a population that they think is just going to have a miserable life. So would you rather have a kid who grows up poor and in the ghetto, or would you rather just kill them and like don't even bother with the guilt and such of like being the person who put them in that situation? And it's a very sick and twisted logic, and it's very emotion based, as Pierre said. And they get to the logic and go, well, can you imagine all these people who are rape victims, who are born in a family that is very low income, in poverty, who do value their lives, and point to those examples and use that emotion against them, because that's all they understand. It's emotion.
Oh, I actually want to add something or say something.
Here, give me.
Okay. Yeah. No transition, just a straight snatch. I just want to share something when it comes to white sensitivity, and I'm glad someone else brought it up first. And it's the idea that the timing of your sensitivity to the needs of Black people it's offbeat, it's the wrong time, and it's entrapping us in poverty. You want to know what white sensitivity should look like? It should look like the interaction of even you all engaging. That's what the sensitivity needs to look like. The sensitivity does not need to be, well, oh, you can't say this to them, and you can't do this to them, and it's a kind of like hands-off approach. The sensitivity needs to come with engaging us, so that one, like we shared earlier, you know, those of us that are Black conservatives, or those of us that are trying to find our way, because the narrative needs to be rewritten on the idea that everybody that's a white conservative is a racist. You know how that changes? That changes with you guys engaging. So it's you guys going forth and changing that. So I wanted to embrace that sensitivity, because I think you guys are getting trapped as well, because you're being told that sensitivity to us looks like this. But we're telling you here that that sensitivity is getting us confused. And so if you guys reroute that energy and reroute that effort into just, you know, when you're at, you know, the cafeteria, I remember what it's like to be in college. We all had our favorite friends and our favorite group. You know, let's see some of that intentional engaging. When we see that happening, and it's happening between conservatives, that's when that narrative starts to be rewritten, and you guys partner with us, not necessarily in reaching our community, because you guys are not going to be able to do that like we can, but it helps kind of supplement us engaging them in this idea that we've got to get rid of this identity politics. We've got to get rid of the foolishness that conservative values is a color, and those that tend to be conservative are against us. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, because I want it to happen here on campus, at lunch, in classes, in the dorm halls. You guys engage with just even like hellos. You would be surprised. So that's what I'd like to see your sensitivity and your partnership in. And you guys can do that, and you guys can control it, one person at a time. So thank you for that.
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off what she said. You know, I have noticed that identity politics has been something that has been a big issue in just everywhere in our culture, not just white or Black culture. And you know, it's really frustrating to watch other people bully one another because of how they think or how they feel or how they look. Like on this campus and like in my high school, my middle school, I've been called a Nazi, not because of my political views, but just because of my appearance. And you know, part of my friendship really pissed me off because, and you know, that's I don't go around, you know, saying the N-word or calling Asian people or Hispanic people certain things. That's not what I was taught. And the fact that, there are people in organizations, like political activist groups, that are saying, oh, it's okay to tell people these things, call them these things, like the idea that, black activists can go on CNN and call Kanye West a token Negro.
Yep.
That's something that just doesn't sit well with me. And I don't care who delivers it or who's receiving it, it's just not right. And I do believe that it doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your background is, that you gotta be able to stand up for one another.
That's right.
Every single one of you who were up there earlier said, we're all in this together, and we gotta start going out in public and acting so. Hey, I guess that's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying.
Has anybody in this room ever heard the name Margaret Sanger?
Yeah.
Well, for those of you that don't know, she's the founder of Planned Parenthood, and she was an active member of the KKK. And she publicly proposed and advocated for eugenics, which is population control, and specifically the black population control. And this, in my opinion, speaks to everything of the left, because Planned Parenthood, they don't give money to the Republican Party, conservatives. All their money goes to liberals, the left, and that's taxpayer dollars. That's not grant money or anything like that. That's taxpayer dollars. So that's a part.
And the money they get from selling babies.
Baby parts. That's a foundation that was kind of formed on the basis of racism, in my opinion. So that's really flawed.
Let's just remove kinda, because it wasn't kinda.
Yes.
It was 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Exactly. That just gets under my skin every time I see stuff like that about Planned Parenthood, and that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Y'all trying to get me to do this job.
I want to say thank you. Look, I got the best case on that phone. It's okay.
Okay, good, Pierre.
I want to thank John. Can we clap for John?
Yes, John.
And give yourself a round of applause for showing
Yes.
up. I appreciate it. It's raining, it's wet. I'm like, I don't know if I would have came out of my dorm when I was in college. I would have stayed in. I don't know. So I appreciate y'all doing this, and just on behalf of the entire team, like Danielle said, please follow the chapters on Facebook, BLEXIT North Carolina. This is you guys' state. I want to see some new likes on that page. They're gonna be looking for it. I'm telling y'all. So follow those pages. See how you guys can get involved. Talk to some of the members before you leave out. But thank you guys again. We appreciate you.